We've had many questions about how I trim V's hair. I've mentioned a lot of times that I do it myself. This is where I need to put in my huge disclaimer about the fact that I know absolutely nothing about cutting hair. I've never been to any kind of cosmetology school. The only reason that I even was adventurous enough to cut my girl's hair myself was because the hair and skincare group where I've learned everything from, a lot of the moms said that they trim their daughter's hair. Now V wears her hair pretty much always either in cornrows or braids or puffs, and they're very forgiving styles. So it doesn't really matter if the hair is kind of different lengths all over. I mean, we try to get it generally the same length, but you know, it's very forgiving, so it doesn't matter that much. If she wore her hair more in like a flat ironed, or you know, we blew dry it and whatever, where her hair was hanging down straight, then I would probably want to take her to a professional to get it cut and styled. But since she doesn't wear her hair that way, it's very easy for me to trim it myself and save the money of having to go to a professional. So the only thing that you need is a pair of hair cutting scissors. Ours came with our clippers that I used to cut my son's hair, and I'm sure that you can get a pair of scissors easily from any kind of hair supply store like Sally's. So that's all you need. And what I do, I don't do this on any set schedule. This is Tinkerbell, by the way, introducing my dog. So I don't trim her hair on any kind of set schedule. I can usually tell when it's starting to need a trim because in between styles, when I'm washing and then, you know, detangling her hair, the ends get stuck together. They're just more difficult to comb through, more tangled and everything, and then I can tell that it's kind of time for a trim. But I usually wait until a time when she's been wearing a style like this, where she's got individual box twists or braids in, because that's how I trim the hair. I trim them by little individual sections. So, you know, if she had a style in that was just like 8 big cornrows, that's really not a great time to trim her hair. But after she's had a style in like this, and I go to take out the style to wash her hair and put in a new style, that's the perfect time for a trim. So what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna one by one take each twist of hers, and I'm just gonna trim the ends of them. And the only thing that you really need to know is to trim on an angle. Now you can see here, I'm not sure if this is too far away to see. You're still good right now. So we have the twist, and then like the bottom of the twist is just like a spiral curl, because when I do twists like this in her hair, when I get to the ends, I twirl it around my finger like this, and that's how we get the little spirals on the end, where I don't have to use, I'm sorry, my dogs are really obnoxious. So I don't have to use any kind of a hair rubber band or beads or anything to hold the ends of her twist like this. I can loop them around my finger and twirl them up really good, and they hold all on their own. Now, if I were to trim these and cut them straight across with a blunt cut, then making these spirals would become very, very difficult. So it's important that when we trim on an angle, and that's what allows all of the little curly ends of the hair to catch around each other and make these spirals and hold nicely on their own. So that's really the only thing that you need to remember when you're trimming the hair, is to not cut straight across, but to cut at an angle. So you can see here that this is the end of one of her twists, and that the hairs are all like super varying lengths as it goes down to the end. And that's good, because that's what helps us to be able to make those ringlets on the end that hold nicely. But you can also see that they're looking a little, you know, frayed, and just like they could really use a good fresh trim. So I'm just gonna take the end of that twist and take my hair cutting scissors, and I'm gonna make sure that I cut at a nice angle, and I'm just gonna trim them. And I'm just gonna go from one to the next, and it really doesn't take me long at all. I just go from one twist to the next, cutting them at an angle. And then I'll let you back up. then the only other thing really that I can mention about this is it can be really useful if you're going to do your own trims with little ones, toddlers, as their hair is just starting to grow in. You know, babies often get that bald spot in the back, or the hair gets really thin back there, and most little ones have like really thick hair in some areas, thick and long, and then really short in other areas. So as they're going past the toddler years and their hair's growing out, it can be useful to do your own trims. Just trim a tiny bit off of the back where it's shorter and you're trying to let that grow out. Just trim a tiny bit, and then trim, you know, a larger amount off of the sections where the hair is longer, and you'll start to even up that imbalance between the lengths and the hair. And that's, I think, really all I have to say about that.